Super Rugby Dream Team of the Week for round number 7. Tough one to pick just because we had 2 games go to Golden Point, which has been a first and a second on the same weekend for Super Rugby Aotearoa. We've seen it a few times in AU, but it was the first time in Aotearoa. So yeah, a really even set of games, which is nice to see for the competition. I'll pick 15 guys, go through a few key stats, and you guys can always let me know. What do you reckon? Who else would you have had? Props. I've gone with a Hurricanes guy and Savia Numia. Not kind of a fancied guy. And I think that I've got a thing about picking props who play the Crusaders. Maybe the Crusaders scrum is not as good as I think it is. But there's a bunch of packs recently that seem to be holding up pretty well against the Crusaders. And that includes the Hurricanes one at the weekend. 5 runs, 9 meters from him. A clean break, beats 2 defenders. Has 2 passes, makes 6 from 6 tackles, so an overall solid shift. Most importantly though, the scrum is very solid. And I've put another Hurricanes guy. That's how impressed I was. And I've been pretty vocal in my kind of doubts about Tyrell Lomax's performance levels this year, or even last year. I don't think we've seen him kind of go up a level from what we've seen from when he moved to the Canes. But this was one of his better shifts, so credit to him for that. 2 runs, 5 meters, a pass, has 5 from 5 tackles. But again, most importantly, why do you pick your props? You pick your props because they can scrum. Neither of these guys, I believe, conceded any penalties. So, solid shift from the 2 lads. Hooker, and I think I might as well just keep this guy's name as a pretty much permanent fixture on my board. Cody Taylor, I think, is just streets above everybody else right now in New Zealand, maybe even the world. He is just putting in a huge shift week in, week out. He finishes 5 runs for 18 meters, which is already a pretty good shift for a hooker. He has 6 passes. I think one of them a long-range one, which ends up helping to set up the first of Bridges' tries. Was it the forward pass? I don't know. There's a couple that were a little bit dodgy. But look at this, 25 out of 25 tackles. Now, that's just stupid. You can't be doing 25 tackles. You make everyone else look bad, man. 25 tackles. That's a phenomenal, angry shift. He does concede 2 penalties, speaking of angry, but the line-out solid, which is more than what we can say for the Hurricanes. Line-out, 90% it was operating out for the Canes. So, yeah, Cody Taylor is your guy. Going pretty Hurricanes heavy. I'm going with James Blackwell from the Canes also. He ends up capitalizing on a Crusaders error at the restart to set up Julian Savia for a try, so he gets a great try assist. He has 10 runs, 14 meters of his own. He ends up with a clean break, which would be that pick up on the loose ball into a bit of space. 3 passes, including that 1 try assist. 14 out of 16 tackles is a solid shift. Does concede 1 penalty. Wins a line-out. Overall, good effort from the big man. But speaking of guys who are pretty much permanent fixtures, Sam Whitelock, I think I've had him how many weeks in a row? Pretty much every week the Crusaders have played, I think I've put him on the board. I think he's just streets above everybody else as well. He's got Scott Barrett in his team, but I think he's outperforming him. I know they got different roles, but 4 runs, 4 meters is not his best outing in terms of ball carrying, but he still has 3 passes and an offload. 10 from 11 tackles is a great return, even if it doesn't look as good compared to 25 from Cody Taylor. Has 2 line-out steals, really gave the Hurricanes line-out all kinds of trouble. He wins a turnover apart from the line-out as well, so it's overall he's turned the ball over 3 times for his team, and he has 4 line-out wins of his own. Proper shift from the veteran. Loose forwards, I've gone with a Highlander and Shannon Frizzell, who I continue to put on my board as well. I swear I try not to play favourites, but his burst through the couple of defenders for the Chiefs let him set up Aaron Smith with a try assist. He has 12 runs for 29 meters, so his work rate is pretty busy. Finishes with a clean break, which would have been the one that set up the try. 3 defenders beaten. Ends with 10 passes and an offload. 10 passes. For a guy in the number 6 jersey, shows he's a great link-up player. 7 from 8 tackles. Does concede 1 penalty, but kind of makes up for that with a line-out steal. And also 5 line-out wins of his own. So overall, very, very useful player, man. Number 7, I have gone with Adi Savia. No doubt, man. No doubt. Probably player of the week, and it's a shame he didn't last the old 80 minutes. 9 runs for 39 metres is already a very good shift, but you kind of expect that from him. He's a great ball carrier, all elbows he's been described as by some of his opposition players. Finishes with a clean break and a defender beaten. 3 passes and an offload. Still tried one of that big dummy of his. Eventually he'll get it to pay off. 4 from 5 tackles, but 4 turnovers, man. That's the number 1 guy for the week. Both competitions, 4 turnovers. The guy was everywhere. Absolute threat at the breakdown. Put number 7 on his back for the All Blacks. Do it, man. Do it. Number 8, I have gone with a Chief at last. I've gone with Luke Jacobson. He's another guy who makes himself a pretty big threat at the breakdown as well. He finishes with 7 runs for 22 metres, which is not the same as Savia's numbers, but it's still a good shift, man. 7 passes and an offload, so his involvement levels are maybe a wee bit higher in that regard. 6 from 7 tackles. He does concede 2 penalties, but also has 1 line-out steal and 1 turnover 1, so kind of a balance on the scheme of things, and also wins 2 line-outs. So, yeah, he's been a good threat all season. When he plays for all the minutes he's on, like at a high intensity, he really looks the business. Into the backs, gone with Aaron Smith. He ends up with a try and a try assist. That really crisp pass to find Josh Ioane to put him into that gap was a proper bit of scrum halfback play. It's what he should be doing. He dotted down for his own try. If you haven't dotted down on the like button for this video, do that now. It helps out, man. Algorithm and stuff. But he has 7 runs, 21 metres, which is a good shift for a halfback as well. Has 2 clean breaks, has 3 defenders beaten, which is more than some of his loose forwards in front of him. 68 passes and 6 from 7 tackles. So he's going to have to be, on top of his game with Fakatava out for the season. He's going to have to be the guy, but he is used to being the guy. So no doubts he will put in a good shift there. Next one, number 10. Probably only really one choice. Richie Moana always seems to cause the opposition defense huge worries, man. He ends up with a try assist. The controversy around that one is still around a wee bit, but whether it was forward or backwards. 3 conversions, 2 penalties for 12 points. He has 11 runs for 91 metres, which for a number 10 are crazy numbers, but you get used to it with Richie Moana. He finishes with a clean break and 8 defenders beaten. What's the highest I've said so far for defenders beaten? What's the highest? Aaron Smith, 3. Jacobson, I don't think recorded any. Savia had 1. Frizzell had 3. He's got 8. Stupid numbers, man. He's just such a difficult guy to bring down. 25 passes and an offload. 6 from 7 tackles. Does concede turnovers, so it's not all peachy. 2 turnovers conceded, but overall, man, Richie Moore, world class looking. Always looks that way at Super Rugby level, to be fair. Needs to do it at test level, but give him a chance. Midfield was tough. And I ended up with Scott Gregory from the Highlanders. And who would have thought that a few months ago? Laumape was kind of on fire, but then also too fired up at some points. Yeah, Jack Goodhue. Who was the other guy from the Crusaders? Fainganuku came on, playing midfield as well. Yeah, it's a tough one. Tough one for this game. Tupaia was alright, but Gregory didn't do anything wrong. Definitely didn't do anything wrong. He finishes with 5 runs for 23 metres, which is a good return as well. Nothing that flash, but 23 metres is good. 1 clean break and 3 defenders beaten. He finishes with 3 passes, 7 from 7 tackles, so defensively very solid. He even finishes with a line-out one because they throw 1 long. And overall, yeah, I think he looked really, really good, which is great to see because he has had his issues in the past. So yeah, there were other guys who you could have gone for, but no one had a really kind of game without some kind of drawbacks, apart from Gregory, who I thought was solid without being super spectacular. Now, if you want a midfielder who really did tear the house down, that one goes to ALB. Anton Leonard-Brown put in a proper shift. Probably the best game we've seen of him this season. He finishes with 7 runs for 36 metres, which is really good, without being like, devastatingly Richie Moore, almost 100 run metres. A clean break and a defender beaten. 14 passes and 2 offloads, so his involvements are always key. He's such a key cog in that Chiefs machine. 6 out of 8 tackles is maybe not his best work. A penalty conceded, but 3 turnovers won. One of them at the end of that first half. D-Mac kicks a long penalty, and one of them he wins that one in extra time, and D-Mac slotted to win the game. So ALB, how crucial was his intervention in that game? Pretty bloody crucial. Outside backs, you got George Bridge. Much better game from him compared to the week before where he just had the dropsies. Finishes with 2 tries. The commentary team was saying they weren't sure if he got it down, but it looked like the tip of the ball went down for mine. 12 runs for 43 meters is really good. He does have 2 turnovers conceded this week, which is still not great, but last week was like 5. A clean break, a defender beating, a pass, and offload. 2 from 2 tackles, but yeah. Better stuff from George Bridge, and he'll probably get better as he gets back into match fitness as well. I've gone with the other Crusaders winger, Savia Reese. Scores a try. Again, people maybe didn't like the pass, but he scores the try, and he goes all the way around the post as well. Almost gets taken out as he's going to put the ball down, but he still gets it down. 4 runs, 21 meters is a good return for only having 4 runs. A clean break, a defender beaten, 2 passes, and an offload. 3 from 3 tackles. He does concede 2 penalties, which is costly. There were certainly some other good wingers as well, but I've gone with Reese. And lastly, I have gone with Damian Mckenzie at fullback. Finishes the game with that winning kick. He had a few other chances, to be fair. Like, he had 2 chances, a drop goal and a long penalty to win it, but he couldn't get those done. Still finishes with a try assist, 2 conversions, 4 penalties. He has 7 runs for 68 meters, a clean break, 16 passes, 2 from 3 tackles. Overall, D-Mac is a pretty key cog in what the Chiefs are doing as well. If they're going to have a shot against the Crusaders, their props will have to stand up, and he'll probably have to get a good game as well. But yeah, that's the Super Rugby Aotearoa team for round 7. More good games to come. Blues back in action this weekend, which is good news. But yeah, you guys let me know your thoughts. Other guys you thought played well, key moments, key performers, and yeah, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and it all helps out. Talk to you guys again soon. See you later.